Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Do it together.
I'm not gonna do the clap with you anymore.
Why not?
It's literally confusing as hell when I'm editing.
Okay, fine, then you do it.
There's like 4 different claps happening. Because you clap, I clap, then we're like, we need to do it again. We need to do it at the same time. It's just none of it makes sense.
We're quirky.
You're quirky.
I hate that.
Told you last time. No clapping.
Come on. I
would See that's just gonna fuck up everything. Alright. we weren't recording this.
Oh my god, I wish we were.
But I'm keeping this video in.
This is such a great video. What's up, guys?
This is gonna be hilarious.
Okay.
Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1.
I'm done.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, Avi.
Hey, Ayesha.
What are you doing here?
Spooky edition! Folks, it is day 5 of our Halloween week.
And it is Halloween.
It is Halloween today.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
We hope you're staying safe out there. The numbers in COVID are kind of rising, so I hope you're not going out partying. Really hope you're not trick-or-treating or anything like that. Stay home, get cozy. What?
Sorry. So there's this there's this picture of like this guy. He like set up a little trick-or-treat station, right? He sent us up candy outside of his door, and he's like, "Hey, take one." And then there's a sign next to it that says, "If you're 21 plus, knock on the door."
Oh.
So people knock on the door. It's like somebody in like a Jason mask, and he hands you like a little
bottle of alcohol.
Yeah, like a little bottle of tequila.
Oh my god!
Like a little nip of tequila.
Dude, I would totally do that.
Honestly, that guy's a vibe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, you know what I wanted to do? I've always wanted to do this, but I don't have a house to do it in, and I think I might do it next year. I was planning on doing it this year, actually, but COVID. Literally just bonfire outside in your driveway with some friends, like not a lot of friends, but just some friends, and then everybody trick-or-treating, you just hand them candy right there.
Yeah.
As opposed to going to the door and ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. You're warm with the fire. Mm-hmm. You know, you're cozy. Mm-hmm. You got some warm drinks. Mm-hmm. Or just regular drinks. And I like that idea. I saw my neighbors doing it once, and they look so cool.
Oh, so you jacking the idea from them.
They just look so cool.
That's true.
I just want to be cool.
Did they invite you?
No.
Those fucking assholes.
Yeah, there's like a group of...
You should...
There's like a group of...
Stuff.
What?
Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, you're saying there's a group of what?
No, I'm not going to explain it because I feel like it's just going to get worse from there.
Oh, 911?
We just... Anyways, so, but this is day 5, Halloween day of the Halloween stories, murder mysteries that Aisha's telling me. Yeah. And I requested, specifically, Ayesha, tell me a story that is completely unsolved and super spooky and scary.
Okay. You did, and like, I went back and forth with this one, right? Because the thing is, none of these scare me, because like, I read a lot of these.
Yeah.
Desensitized. Yeah. I mean, I do try to not watch these before I go to sleep, you know, like, just in case. I also sleep with the lights on, like, all the time anyway.
Do you really?
I don't sleep in the pitch dark. I sleep, like, a little bit of light.
Oh, see, I can't do that. I have to, it's gotta be, well, okay, so I'm slowly adapting to sound. I can sleep with some sound on, no problem, like the TV in the background. But I typically can't do light. It's just too much. So
I usually have it's usually like the LED light from my phone. Usually, it's not like a full out. It's not like a full out night light.
Sure.
Because that's like hard for me to sleep in too. Like, also if there's people like in the room with me, like I'm a little more comfortable.
Really?
Well, I kind of have to be. I'm not going to inconvenience an entire group of people or another person.
You're uncomfortable.
Like, okay, so here's a good example. Right, my father just had open heart surgery. Mm-hmm. So, like, while he was in the hospital recovering, I slept in my mom's room, in my mom's bed, right? Because I didn't want her to sleep alone. Yeah. And so that, like, I was fine, right? I'm so used to needing something to go on in the background and needing it to be a little bit of light in order to sleep. But the fact that someone was next to me, honestly, I'm sleeping, I don't really have sleeping problems.
Okay.
I'll be up till 2 a.m., but, like, that's my own choice.
I mean, pretty bold. You up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then you go right to work at 8.
Yeah, I have a job now where I have to be up. At 8.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll say this for another podcast, but today was the one day I thought I could sleep in because I had like I had like a meeting. My first meeting was until 11, so I was like, all right, cool, I can sleep and I can start work at 9.
Yeah.
And then I woke up into my normal time, and I was contemplating if I should fall asleep or not. And I was like, I just feel like I have a meeting. And I was like, no, you're being paranoid, girl. You don't have a meeting. You're just being paranoid, right? And at 8:15, I get a text from my boss saying, like, hey, by the way, we're all in a meeting right now. We forgot to send you the invite. Man, what the fuck?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, I noticed you weren't online. So I was like, yeah.
Maybe we should check if she's, on the meeting invite. Yeah. That sucks. Okay.
But also, I did that because, like, I noticed that nobody else was on at, like, 8:30. Like, it was just my boss and me. Like, everybody, the rest of my team doesn't come on until 9. So, I can come on at 9.
Right. Makes sense.
But now I'm gonna have to be up at 8 o'clock all the time anyway, just for safesies.
Funsies.
Safesies.
Destructors.
But going back to this.
Yeah.
That actual little story, this idea that, like, don't, like, sometimes you're paranoid, you think you're paranoid, but you're not paranoid, is actually a good segue into my story.
Okay.
Right? But, like, going back to what I was saying before, picking a story that's legitimately scary, for me, is a little hard. Right? And so I picked it based off of my biggest fear. But I want to ask you, what's your biggest fear?
I'm not going to tell you. You know why?
Why?
It's a tangible fear. And I just dislike telling people because I've told people in the past what my biggest fear is, and typically they start using it against me because they think it's a joke.
That's fucked up.
It is, and it's a true fear. There have been moments where I'm not an anxious person generally. I'm very fortunate for that, right? I don't really suffer from
big flex.
Well, it could change any time though, right?
Big flex. I have anxiety all the time.
Right, but I typically don't. That one thing, if it happens to me, my anxiety goes through the roof to the point where my blood pressure spikes, and I have been liable to pass out before.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So imagine, like, just walking down the street or something, and whatever
this
I'm
thing
fear
happens,
that happens
right?
to me,
I
will hit the concrete. So another thing is I've people say all the time, yeah, man, I'm really scared of spiders, right? I have a really good friend, he's scared of spiders. He has a genuine...
It's me.
He's worse.
Oh, really?
He's way worse.
Yeah.
He runs.
Oh, shit.
So I have to... Like, I've seen him, and it's not even a funny thing. When he gets scared of spiders, he genuinely just... He's like, oh, no. So it's not even like, oh my God, kill it, No, it's like real fear I see in the man's eyes. And so I don't want to use that against him. That's bogus, to prank and scare him. No, that's terrible, right? But it's been done to me. Where people will try to prank me with that. Or be like, ha ha ha, you're scared of this, you're scared of that. And I'm just like, I don't think it's funny.
Yeah. Because
it comes from a real place of danger. It comes from a real place of fear. And it's a real thing that has happened to multiple people.
Okay.
So, I'm not going to share my fears. Even though I love you, I'm not going to share it. But yeah, I know what your fear is, though. Don't guess either.
How dare you just ruin the outline of my entire thing like that? How dare you? Okay, well, I'll go fuck myself then. I'll go fuck myself, whatever. Anyway, So the point I was trying to make, I want our listeners to learn a little bit more about you, but we keep secrets. But this story is related to my biggest fear. Yeah. Right? And I'm not going to disclose what the biggest fear is now. During the course of the story, it will become glaringly clear what it is. And you and I know, because we've talked about my biggest fear. Yes. But also, like, after having this thing happen to me in the morning with work, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of gut instinct, and also just, like, sometimes, like, you kind of check yourself out. Yeah. Like, you have an idea, but you kind of just talk yourself out of it. Sometimes it's good, right? Because sometimes you're building this thought off of general anxiety. But other times that fear is coming from a real... not even this fear, I'm sorry. This idea, this thought is coming from a real place. Yeah. And so it's just... Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes you call it wrong. And this is one of those times where this story is about a family. I'm just going to... Spoiler alert, as though you're not going to watch or listen to the rest of this. It's about a family that gets murdered. Dun, dun, dun! Why'd you just spoil it for me? What? That's what people... What? That's what people in the comments are like. They're like, what? And and you asked for unsolved. It is an unsolved murder. Yeah. It's the oldest one that we've covered in the series.
Pause. I want to make sure this camera's working, because last time we had technical difficulties.
Was this camera on? Where was I?
Huh?
Where was I?
You were
it's
talking
the
about...
oldest. There you go. it's the oldest case that we're covering this week.
Yeah.
It's the case. It actually is not even U.S. based. It's Germany based.
Ooh.
Yeah. It takes place in a little town called Hinterkaifeck.
Hinterkaifeck.
Which, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do any research
on Hinterkaifeck
today.
I know everything about Hinterkaifeck.
Oh, really? Is it still rural?
It's a gigantically huge, bustling city, almost the size of New York. Not as big though. Very wealthy, affluent, but underground. Laugh. Laugh. No, I know nothing about Hinterkaifeck. I'm sorry.
I know. I was like, dude, there's gonna be people that believe you.
It is. I don't know nothing about Hinterkaifeck. And you know what? If we have any German listeners, please explain what Hinterkaifeck is.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. But also, I say a lot of things wrong. So just please be patient.
Ayesha doesn't even know how to pronounce her own name, so it's okay.
You know what I mean? It's Ayesha.
It's Ayesha. Let's be real. You've seen how it's spelled. Ow. Okay.
I hope that's on the video.
It
Damn
is.
it.
It is on video.
Anyway, this takes place in the 1920s.
Okay.
Right, so in between World War I and World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Some history facts for you guys. But yeah, it takes place in a town called Hinterkaifeck, Germany, which back then was like a farm town, right? And this entire story revolves around a family.
Yeah.
And so the family comprises of a mother, a father, a daughter, the daughter's 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and a maid. Now, like I mentioned before, I'm not good with names. Even though these names aren't difficult, I just completely forgot them during the process of this.
Okay.
So I have been referring to them in my research as like Mommy Gruber, because it's the Gruber family. Mommy Gruber.
The Gruber family?
Yeah, Mommy Gruber, Daddy Gruber.
Tell me more about Daddy Gruber.
Baby Gruber.
What makes him daddy?
He's the head of the household.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, Father Gruber.
Oh, God.
Discovers. Okay, so Mommy Gruber,
yeah.
Father Gruber, Daughter Gruber, Baby Girl Gruber, Baby Boy Gruber, and there's a maid.
Okay.
Right? There is one person's name I know, and I'll reveal it later. But like I said before, this... I'm trying not to repeat myself too much because I've been watching the feedback. I've been watching the videos. I've been saying the same things a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
okay.
I said that Vanessa Gillian was 20 times, like maybe 20 times in the entire thing. Yeah, so anyway.
If you didn't know, Vanessa Gillian was 20.
If you didn't know by the end of that video.
And she was killed by a man who was
her age, who was 20. Screw you.
So 20-year-old Vanessa Gillian was killed by 20-year-old Aaron.
Anyway, you ready to get into it?
Yes, I
We're
am.
doing a lot of back and forth. Let's get into it now. Ready?
Let's do it.
So the Gruber family, like I mentioned, is a mother and a father, right? That mother and father, for the mom, it wasn't her first marriage, actually, right? She married into this family that owned the farm that they live in. I guess I didn't mention this before, but Hinterkaifeck back then was a farming community, right? So her first husband owned this farm, and then her first husband ended up passing away. And so when she remarried to Father Gruber, just through the widowship, I guess, she ended up kind of inheriting this land and this property.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how the Gruber family got to be on this farm, right?
Sure.
And it was a pretty big farm. And like I mentioned before, like they only had one child. They had a daughter. The daughter eventually did get married, but her first husband was the father of her daughter, her eldest.
Her first husband was the daughter of her eldest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
First marriage. Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right. Okay.
So her daughter's first husband, or her daughter, the daughter's first husband was, father to the baby girl, right?
Yes.
He goes off to World War I, and he dies.
Yikes.
And then there's the baby boy.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to talk about the father in a second. But pretty much, like, they were all living in this family, and this entire family was living under this farm community. They had, I don't know what they were specialized in, but they had, like, cattle, and they had crops and everything, right? And they had a maid for a really, really long time, and then the maid ended up quitting, and they got a new maid.
Okay.
Right? Remember how I told you, like, I'd get back to this father piece?
Yeah.
So, this daughter Gruber, she does have 2 kids, but they don't have the same dad, right? Because, obviously, like I mentioned before, first one passed away. There is conflicting reports on who the father is.
Oh, God.
But there has been suspicion.
Oh, God.
This gets kind of gross. Here's a little fun fact. The father, her father, was jailed for a little bit.
For what?
For the suspicion of incest.
Oh, God!
Yeah.
Oh, God! That's disgusting, bro.
That's really gross. I was just
really
like, okay,
gross.
this is really gross. Like,
It's actually pretty fucking gross.
Right, and so, like, that means, like, if that's... And again, it's just suspicion. This is the 1920s. There's no paternity test or anything, so there's no way they can prove it. But if that is true, that means the dad plays this really horrifying role as not only the grandfather to this baby boy, but also the father.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
That's weird.
That's real fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
This daughter does eventually let another, at least to the accounts of this, lets at least one other person know, and that other person is the neighbor. So the neighbor's name, actually, no, his name is Lorenz.
Lorenz.
Yeah, Lorenz. I always want to say Lorenzo, but it's not. It's very much Lorenz. There's no O at the end.
Right, Lorenz.
Yeah, and so obviously Lorenz was a little like weirded out. He's like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is wild, right?
Yeah.
So he's not about the father, not about her being... she told him before she was pregnant with her baby boy, right? That like, hey, my dad is like...
The father.
Yeah, my
Oh,
dad
really?
is,
So
like,
she... Okay,
yeah, she had disclosed the sexual harassment, the sexual assault to her neighbor before, like, she had a child. Before she had the supposed child with him, right? And this, this neighbor felt, like, really bad and was, like, trying to be there for her. And just on the same time, like, he was having issues with his wife.
Lorenz.
Yeah, Lorenz having issues with his wife. And I think they ended up getting divorced or whatever. Basically what I'm trying to say is somewhere along the time that this little baby was conceived, not only was this girl, like, messing around with her father, she was also messing around with Lorenz. So there's a possibility that if the father of this baby is not his grandfather, it's probably the neighbor, probably Lorenz. But nobody ever knows. Nobody has ever known.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes,
right? So that's the family. That's like the setup of all these people. Now let's talk about the crime.
Incest is not wincest, by the way. Internet will understand it.
Oh God. Okay, I'm traumatized.
I said it's not.
Traumatization.
Oh God.
Anyway, okay, let's get to the case. Let's get to the real scary part. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. So one day, Dad Gruber, he goes to his shed to get a tool. And he notices that the shed has been broken into.
Yeah.
And there seems like there's something missing, but at the time he couldn't figure out what it was.
Okay.
And so he does a little bit more digging to try to figure out, like, hey, like maybe I just misplaced something, right? He notices this farming property happens to be adjacent to a forest.
Okay.
So he notices footprints coming from the forest into the house, but coming back up. Nobody leaving. Right? I think it's in snow. I imagine it in snow.
Okay.
I don't know, but I imagine in snow or just like,
Sure.
Yeah, or just like maybe
mud. Because
mud.
but I figure like mud would be like, okay, maybe it was a kid.
Yeah.
Or like something else. Like mud, it's difficult to see mud footprints, but it's easy to see.
It's very easy to see snow footprints.
Because snow is like deep.
Those indentations are extremely deep.
And if your family's staying in the house.
Yeah.
And you're the only one going out to get the whatever.
Right.
And you're like, well, my family's been
But also, like, these are adult footprints. These aren't child footprints.
Right, so you narrow it down to, like, 2 people.
Yeah.
But
then it's also, like, who the hell went in the forest and went to the house and, like, it was just weird.
Or who came out of the forest.
Yeah, who came from the forest into the house.
Yeah,
exactly, that's what I meant. And so, again, he continues to do some more research, right?
Yeah.
And at this time, his old maid is still living there. So his old maid, for a long time, was making complaints that, like, she was hearing something. Like, she was hearing noises. Specifically, footprints from the attic.
And like people walking around in the attic.
Yeah. And then, like, he said that, like, he, after a short time, noticed the same thing. He also noticed that there was a newspaper that came up that didn't belong. Like, he didn't read, his wife didn't read, that, like, nobody was reading. Like, this was not a newspaper that they would have read, so it's kind of odd that it just showed up randomly at this house. And then lastly, they noticed that some keys were missing. So it's creepy. Very creepy. And also just some weird things were happening. For instance, like, he had noticed that, like, in the middle of the night, one night, one of the cattle had, like, the ties that were, like, holding onto the cattle so they don't run off, whatever, was untied. And he could have sworn he tied them. So he had to go out in the middle of the night and retie it.
Oh, shit.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, if you're hearing footsteps, wouldn't you just... I don't know,
go
check.
upstairs and look.
Yeah,
right?
you would
That's
check,
the thing that doesn't
you
really
know?
make any
Like,
sense. Like, how come they never looked?
Right. I fucking hate that shit. You know, that's like horror movies right there, right?
Yeah, it's
I'm
like the
hearing noises in the room. I'm not going to go in.
That's like what I said before, right? It's just like sometimes like you psych yourself out. You're just like, oh, I'm just being paranoid, right?
Okay.
But also if two people are, and also like, I guess that kind of goes along with it, right? If two people are saying it, what if you just both are psyching yourself out?
Okay.
Right.
Sure,
I think that's what I think. That's why I brought up that story. That I think that's what it was. I think that they had just said, "Oh no, I'm being paranoid." Right.
Okay.
Oh, but also like I guess like after a while, like I don't know. It just depends. There's definitely some times where I've just gone and looked at something just to make sure.
Okay.
Right. Like just to double check everything was fine.
Yeah,
like for instance, I was babysitting my nieces and nephews yesterday. My niece and my nephew yesterday,
Yeah.
and they have this big house. And when I was downstairs when they were sleeping, I heard some noises, and of course I went upstairs to check. There was nothing there.
Okay.
Right. I just went upstairs to check because that's what you're supposed to do. You have to check. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just odd that they never did the due diligence to check. But anyway,
or maybe they did and they didn't find anything. Like he was like whoever it was
case.
hiding.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
Because again, a set of keys were missing, and then they found a newspaper. So that means somebody had to have come. And also, the shed was broken into. So this not only is if somebody is living in this house that they don't know about, they're not just living there; they're like moving around.
Right.
Because you think that you try to make the least amount of noise and whatever possible to make sure you're not found.
Yeah.
But they were suspicion.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know. Anyway, they got murdered.
What? Just like that?
They got murdered. Yeah. Here's how. I'm gonna tell you about after they got murdered first, and then jump back to when they got murdered.
Okay.
Right. Just because. When I explain how they found their bodies, then it's kind of a good segue, right? But anyway, so they were murdered in very, very late very late May, early April of 1922, right?
Okay.
And again, this is the 1920s, right?
Yeah.
Like, people go without being heard from all the time.
Sure,
right?
especially
so, like,
if you live on a farm, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, people were like calling them, trying to get a hold of them, but like they didn't hear from them for a few days, but that's not that alarming back then. If that happened now, it would be very alarming,
sure.
right? Like if I didn't pick up, if I didn't pick up your phone for like 4 days, you'd be like, "Actually, where the fuck are you?"
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. If I don't pick up your phone for like four hours,
like,
you're like, "Actually, where the fuck are you?"
Yeah,
you happen, you're like, "Hey, are you okay?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's just again safety precautions, right?
Yeah.
Plus, I'm always on my phone, so
that's what it is, though. Like I know some people that aren't on their phones, and I'm like, okay, you know, this person already. Like I've had 89, not 1,000 instances where I text somebody. And they don't respond for like 1 or 2 days. So I know that precedence is set.
Yeah, there's some. We have friends like that. We know people like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, like my best friend's like that.
Yeah.
Not you, my other best friend.
There are others?
Yeah.
We're going to have a talk about this later.
I thought what we had was special!
So a couple days go by, but the first instance that somebody is is like figuring out that something's off here is it like maybe 4 or 5 days after the murder. Okay. So I guess what happened was the Gruber family had, they mentioned that they needed to get something fixed. So they called and set up an appointment with a repairman.
Yeah.
The repairman comes, and mind you, the repairman doesn't know that this family is dead.
Okay.
The repairman comes and rings the doorbell, knocks on the door, doesn't hear an answer. But he does notice that he hears the barking of a dog inside the house.
Okay.
Right? That's a very key fact. Remember that. He keeps trying, nothing happens, so he's like, well, maybe I should just go from the back. So that's what he does. He goes around the house, he tries the back door, still nothing. And so whatever he needed to fix was actually already in the outside. It was in like the yard, whatever. So he just was like, all right, I'll just go fix it. So he goes and he fixes it. And after he's done, he walks back. He has to pass the barn on the way back, right?
Yeah.
And he noticed that the barn door was wide open, which he could have sworn wasn't open before. Like, it was almost like somebody, opened the barn
Like,
door.
as soon as he went around, somebody came the other way.
Exactly. Something like that, right?
Shit,
Which is weird. And so anyway, he goes, he's like, oh, that's a little weird.
Yeah. Can you get that up?
So he goes back, he finishes the job, and he goes back around, and he goes back around, and then while he's leaving the property, he notices that the dog is now outside of the house and tied up. Okay. Which is... To him, it was just like, oh, like, that's weird. But again, he didn't know that the family that lived there was dead, and so it didn't tip anything off to him, right? Yeah. So a couple more days pass by, and then this guy Lorenz, right, the neighbor, he's like, where the fuck are these people?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was like he needed to talk to them, like he had like a reason to go over there, or it was genuine concern. But he was the one that actually was like, hey, let me go over to this house. He goes over to the house, same thing, right? Nobody opens the door. He starts to search the perimeter, and he goes into that barn. And in that barn, he finds the horrifying sight of the mother, the father, the daughter, and the maid. I'm sorry, no, the mother, the father, the daughter, and the baby girl all dead and stacked on top of each other in the barn.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Stacked on top of each other?
Stacked on top of each other.
What the fuck,
and so,
dude?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Okay.
I think it literally went like baby girl, daughter, mom, and father. I think the father was at the top.
There's pictures of this?
Yeah, there's pictures of this.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, you can't see the people's heads. Or, well, there's a reason for that. And I'll get to that later. But you do see, like, their bodies. Like, you see, like, their legs, pretty much, in the pictures.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's fucked up. It's scary.
Okay.
And so he immediately goes and he gets the police. Mm-hmm. Right? And so the police, they break into the house and they find that the maid... Also, I forgot to mention, this is a new maid, right? This was her first day.
Oh.
This was literally her first night staying in this house.
Yeah.
And they killed her in her bed.
Oh, shit.
And then the baby boy, who was like, I think 2 years old, killed him with a bassinet.
What the fuck?
It was so fucked up. And so they died because they were all bludgeoned to death, right? Someone took a hammer or an axe and bludgeoned them to death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
for all of the people that were found in the barn, they were like actually like a solid, like a couple of hacks, right? And so was the same thing on the maid, the baby boy. I mean, it's a baby boy, right? So just like one swift hit.
Oh, fuck.
It's
okay.
fucked up.
Yeah.
It's insanely fucked up. While the police are trying to investigate, they notice a couple things that, again, are off about the house. For one, there were large sums of money all over the house. I forgot to mention that. The Gruber family actually was pretty well off. They weren't extremely well off, but they were definitely like upper middle class, we'll say.
Sure.
And so there was large sums of money all over the house. And none of that was taken, for one.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of rule out that the intent of this murder was not for money or material gain, right?
That's terrible, then.
Right.
That makes it even scarier to me.
Which says that, like, it can only be... There's only a couple of other extra reasons why you do it. Number one, because you're a fucking psychopath and you like to kill people.
Yeah.
Or number
That's what
two,
I'm
it's a
thinking.
crime of passion.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
and so, anyway... So they found that, but they also noticed, again, like, this family was, like, I don't know how they figured this out, because, again, it's the 1920s, like, they don't have great technology, but I guess they figured out that, like, they had passed away, like, were dead, like, maybe a week ago, right? And again, this is a farm, you guys. Like, farms take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, every single day. You don't get a day off from being a farmer, right? All of the work that needed to be done on the farm every day was still being done, even though they were dead. Like, the cattle were being fed, the rest of the animals were being fed, all the crops were mended to, everything. They had found dishes in the sink. I mean, there's no dishwasher. They have dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
There's crumbs, like, everywhere. There's a fucking piece of shit in the toilet.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck?
So basically, the point I'm trying to make is, whoever killed them...
He lived there. He or she lived there and, like, did everything.
Right. So, like, the only logical explanation you can make is that whoever was living in that attic one day went into that shed, stole something from the shed, from the tool shed, and then killed them with it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then do you remember how I told you, like, once in the middle of the night, like, that cattle got untied?
Yeah.
People have suspected that was the first time this person was trying to kill them. That was like a distraction, a diversion or something, to try to get them outside.
Holy shit, this is creepy, dude. I have goosebumps right now.
Yeah, I know, it's
What
creepy.
Fuck?
It's really creepy. And so, now it's time to look for suspects, and unfortunately there are none. Right?
Yeah.
There are none.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a second, but, like, let's talk about what happens to the farm afterwards, right? I mean, of course, like, the entire family, like, they're both, everyone who knows them is, like, very, very impacted and affected. They're actually, at the funeral service, there's a lot of people that come. Back in the 1920s, technology wasn't that great. It was really, really hard to do a good autopsy. But the rule of thumb back then was that your head had the most evidence.
Okay.
So they wanted to bury this family, right, for the sake of, their families, but they needed to continue doing evidence to try to figure out who did this murder, so because of that, they chopped off all their heads.
What?
So this entire family was buried without any heads. It's weird. It's very weird.
The fuck?
I know, it's super weird. Oh, you know what's worse? Is that, again, remember I mentioned this was in between the World Wars?
Yeah.
During the Second World War, they lost all the heads.
No way.
How the fuck do you lose that many? How the fuck do you lose one head?
Isn't that 6 heads?
That's 6 heads!
How do you... They lost them?
6 heads!
The investigators lost the heads?
I don't know who lost them, but someone lost them. They were lost.
Wow, you are freaking me out. Let me check this camera real quick. What the fuck? Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Which is gross. I think, like, when they were... Okay, time to deal with the fucking house, right? What do they do to the house now? Since technically now they have the heads, so now they can figure out whatever they need to work out. The thing that they try to figure out with the house is, I can't remember... Okay, Uncle Gruber, right? So the father's brother, I think, was the next in line to inherit the house.
Okay.
And so when that happened... do you remember that the daughter actually had, like, a husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that died or whatever?
Yeah.
There's a really, like, unresearched, unevidenced theory that, like, maybe the first husband didn't die and maybe he was the one that did it, but it's not... There's no evidence to prove that, right?
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the reason why I bring it up is because his family actually goes to, like, Uncle Gruber and says, like, hey, what if we buy this property? And at first he was a little hesitant, like he didn't want to do it, but I think after a while he was like, all right, go ahead and take it. And so they don't want the house. They just want the property. They want the land. So they proceed to actually demolish the house. Okay. And it's when they demolish the house, they actually find the murder weapon. Like, it was hidden in one of the walls. So bloody, apparently.
Oh, no fucking way.
Which, like, I think those are conflicting reports because the timeline that it takes, like, I mean, the time it takes to, number one, not only acknowledge the fact that there was a murder, plan a memorial service, have the memorial service, and then deal with all of that, has got to be a significant period of time. Okay. So blood does not stay wet for months and months, right? Yeah. So I think, like, it was just still stained with blood. Yeah. If you read that it's still bloody, like, I think that's what it means, that it's still stained with blood.
No, but yeah,
but that's so disgusting.
That's what I thought of.
Yeah,
right?
and
like,
then,
but that's, dude,
I mean,
they found the weapon.
Yeah, and then just like a moment to laugh. The murder weapon was like a brand of like a pickaxe. Okay. Called my dick. I'm being serious. It's called MADICK.
Well, that's legit.
Yeah, it's literally my dick.
Oh, I thought you were making like the weapon was called these nuts. No, I thought that's what you were doing right now.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's literally called my dick.
These nuts. Got him.
It's called my dick.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Dick.
Maybe.
I don't know. Again, I don't know how to pronounce things. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. My research, the videos I watched said it was my dick.
Well, we got it on camera, Ayesha saying it was my dick that killed that Gruber family. Damn, Ayesha.
Okay, so, theories. There's only one actual theory that really stands true. Is that the neighbor did it. Lorenz. Because Lorenz, number one, was the one that, like, came in and, like, found them. Yeah. And so a lot of times, like, that's why, like, sometimes, like, and I'm going to talk to you about this after the story is over, but sometimes, like, people who find the murder, like, they walk in on it, sometimes, like, they could be the suspect. Like, that's the whole Scott Peterson case.
Oh, okay.
Is that Scott Peterson? True Crime Junkies, I'm talking about the staircase. Is that Scott Peterson? That's not Drew Peterson.
I don't know. All I know is I can reference Among Us. If, you walk into a room and there's a dead body there, and then other people walk in after you, you're the suspect.
I need to know now.
It sucks.
The staircase. Michael Peterson.
Peterson.
Yeah, Michael Peterson. This is another.
I'm acting like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Michael Peterson basically was a guy. He called 911. He's like, I found my wife dead at the bottom of the stairs. Right. And the theory is that he did it.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay.
exactly. It's the Mike Peterson scenario.
Yeah.
So it's like there's that. That's one thing about it. But also it's just like, remember how I told you, like, it's not sure if maybe, like, he was the father or the father was the father?
Yeah.
I think, like, he was kind of weird about that. Like, sometimes he would promote this, like, rumor that, like, oh, yeah, my, like, you know the Gruber family? Yeah, you know they do incest, right? And then other times, like, oh, yeah, you know that baby? That's my baby, though. Like, so it was weird. There was something weird about it. Later on, Lorenz would actually burn his own house down to commit insurance fraud. So we know he's capable of the crime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, let's say that there were footsteps coming from the forest to that house.
Yeah.
If there's footsteps now coming from that house to his house, like, it wouldn't be weird.
Right.
Yeah. And also, like, he like, you know, has easy access to the house. Right? So he can come in and, like, live there and do everything, and, like, it's not a big deal. Right? And kind of appear... Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah, that sounds mad saucy.
Yeah, but again, there's no
evidence
of that. It could very easily just be some fucking psycho that just lived there and killed him.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I personally feel that's the theory, because Lorenz just seems like an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it could have been, you know.
Oh, actually, the other thing I forgot to mention was, like, the reason why... This doesn't really matter because, like, there's no way to check this, but, like, people were walking in and out of this house in this barn when they found everybody, right? So, like, I mean, evidence is completely tampered with, but also, like, there's no DNA to check, so it doesn't matter.
Right, yeah.
But Lorenz was, like, for a guy that, like, denied that this little baby was his kid for so long, when he found this family stacked on top of each other, he ran in there and, like, tried pulling them apart to see if the little baby was in there, claiming, like, I'm looking for my son, I'm looking for my son, I'm looking for my son. So, it's a little weird. He could have been acting if he did it, or he could have been honest, and it's just weird. Like, Lorenz is just kind of a weird character. The whole thing is kind of weird. To me, it makes a little bit more sense that it's just, like, he's just, like, a weird dude than, like, he actually committed this murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then who among us hasn't committed insurance fraud? Not me. I'm an auditor. I have ethics.
I have none.
Yeah, that's the story.
Damn.
So it's been almost 100 years.
Yeah.
Right? And no one's ever solved it.
Holy shit, dude! This was the scariest story so far.
Yeah, I told you it was scary, and it's based, and, like, the reason I chose it again, it's based off of my biggest fear. What's my biggest fear, Avi?
That somebody's in your house
and I don't know about it.
Yeah.
The biggest fear, and, like, for everyone that's listening, like, my house was robbed in 2016, and so ever since then, I've always had this very. Some people have told me it's irrational. Other people have told me it's rational.
No, it is rational.
Yeah,
this
rational fear that, like, somebody's in the house when I don't know. Like, the Hush. Like, there's an entire movie about it. Hush. Hush is the movie about that, right?
Yes.
That's literally my fear. Like, and so to that point, like, I can't. Like, I hate coming into the house by myself.
Right.
Like, if it's empty.
Right.
I'm okay with, like, being there if my parents leave or whatever. Like, I still live with my parents or whatever. If, like, people leave and I'm there by myself now, I'm okay with it. But if I walk into it empty, I'm a little weirded out.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a cousin who had her house broken into as well, and you know, she was living in the city and stuff like that, and there's no. You can take it either one or two directions, in my opinion. You can either take it in the route of being angry and be like, "Fuck, all my shit just got stolen" and all that stuff, or you can be really genuinely scared, like I think people should be, and be a little, you know, what's the word for it? But, like, you know, you're prepared, I guess, in a sense. But you have that healthy set of fear, like, somebody was in my house, and even though they took a bunch of shit, what if I was home?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What would they have done?
Yeah.
Because you hear about stories all the time. Oh, a B&E turned into a murder.
Yeah.
You know? So that's scary.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, like, there's a heightened level of self-awareness, right? And so, like, every single noise could be something potentially.
Yeah,
That's why, you know, it's so important. Like, you guys, like, this podcast is sponsored by Ring. I wish. Maybe one day. But I would love to get sponsored by
That'd be
one
so
company.
smart, though.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll be your scared person that, like, you made feel safe. I'll do it. Ring. Give me a ring.
ADT. Brinks. Nest. Ring.
You can just totally...
Alexa. They're all out there.
They can all hear us.
No, what I'm saying is, like, there's so many options these days for security systems now. You can set up in-home cameras. You know, when I buy a house, I actually do plan on having some in case something does happen, and, you know, you know, you have, like, 10,000 hours recorded of you just sitting on the couch, but that one 3-minute incident of somebody breaking in, taking all your shit.
Never recorded.
It never gets recorded. You know, like, So might as well have some. Anyways, back to the case. I genuinely think it was a psychopath, and he or she, thought that they could kill this entire family, and that just take care of the farm. Like I instantly got a farm, and I have money because they had money. Mm-hmm. You know, I got a farm, I got money. Take care of the animals.
Well, if that's the case, then why keep the bodies in the barn?
True.
Why not dispose of the bodies?
True. Yeah.
Or maybe he was planning on disposing of the bodies, but
and he got interrupted.
This bitch Lorenz came here
fucking Lorenz.
Keep your fucking nose out of my business. Yep. Okay? Lorenz.
Fucking Lorenz.
What kind of dumbass name is Lorenz?
But
if you have someone named Lorenz, I'm just really kidding.
Yeah, we don't.
Sorry.
It's not a dumbass name.
It's not. I'm really sorry.
Anyways, that was the scariest.
So is that what you wanted?
That was exactly what I wanted.
There you
Holy
go.
shit, dude.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I went back and forth which story I should do.
Yeah.
The other stories, if anybody is interested and liked this week, if anybody else is interested in other scary stories, I was gonna do the case of the missing Sonder children.
Okay.
Which to me is a little creepy. It's really creepy to me.
Yeah.
Which is like this family had like 9 kids, 4 of them go missing after a house fire, but it's weird. It's wild.
Okay.
It's wild. We'll watch a video. We'll do some research together.
Okay.
I was also gonna do Jack the Ripper. Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah. Ultimately, the only reason why I didn't is because there's so many suspects when it comes to Jack the Ripper that I couldn't have done them all. But I just wanted to do it to talk about the specific theory of Jane the Ripper.
Yeah, that potentially was a girl, right?
Yeah. Because you mentioned this. Even now, you mentioned that what if it was a girl? There are women killers.
Yeah.
We can kill too.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna kill
Jack the Ripper though is very sensationalized. You know, What are you whispering? I'm not doing anything. It's not me. Anyways, Jack the Ripper is very sensationalized in the sense of for gamers out there, you guys know there was an Assassin's Creed game that featured Jack the Ripper, and that was a big thing. Batman, in the past 2 years, I think, they came out with an animated movie, and the culprit was Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. And then Sherlock has had Jack the Ripper. Mm-hmm. So it's really sensationalized now, and people look at it as like, yo, that's so cool, you know, oh my god, you know, but in reality, he was a murderer.
Yeah, he was a murderer.
You know?
It's cool just because it's been years,
yeah.
And I think by the world's account, he was the first
true serial killer
that was never found.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, because the theory is he or she may have been a doctor or a nurse, surgically taking people out, knowing what to do with it, and then going from there. You know, so it's just it's nuts.
Which is that's I think that of a lot of these cases where the cuts and everything were so strategic and so functional. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Why would it not? Why would it be anything else?
Right.
I think that's the same reason they say that George Hodel is the person that killed Emily Smart, aka the Black Dahlia.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay,
because of the way that the incisions were.
I've heard of that.
Oh yeah, it's creepy.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, okay, if you want a second to talk about that, she was found laying in someone's fucking lawn, and she was so pale white because so much blood was drained out of her that the woman that found her thought it was a mannequin.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay, never mind. I've heard of the name the Black Dahlia. I've never heard of.
It's a very famous case. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, actually, the only other case I was considering, the reason why it's connected was because one of the last places the Black Dahlia was seen was at the Cecil Hotel, which is also the place where Elisa Lam, met her demise after having this really weird elevator.
Elisa Lam.
Elisa Lam is pretty much like this Canadian girl who came to California, right, on vacation. She stayed in this hotel, and there's security footage of her in an elevator acting very, very weird.
Okay.
Her hand movements are very odd. The elevator door also for 4 or 5 minutes does not close. She's the only one in the elevator. Her behavior is very, very abnormal. Mm-hmm. And it's just really funny that the elevator door just never closes. I know I'm just repeating all of this, but I'm just trying to think back. She pushes all the buttons. It looks like she's looking for somebody, but nobody's there.
So she's paranoid. The door's not closing. maybe it's haunted.
Yeah.
And then
so like people say like maybe she was on drugs, but it was also the fact that like the way that she was moving her arms and her body was a little harder to do for a normal
When was
human.
this?
This was like 2000s.
Oh, so this is recent.
This is recent.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So
this
it's
is
not
definitely
like
this century. Yeah. I don't know when, but like this century.
Okay.
But then later on, like maybe 24 hours later, she's found dead in the water tank of the hotel. Which is, to get to the water tank, you have to take, like, this emergency exit that if you open it, will sign off, will trigger an alarm.
Yeah.
And no alarms are triggered. So it's like, how the fuck did she get up there?
No way.
Right.
Oh, wow.
How the fuck did she get up there? Also, she was naked when she was in there.
One of the employees did it.
Maybe. But also, even if the employees did it, there's still, like, the only door you can go through has an alarm that will trigger. So maybe somebody canceled out the alarm and did all of that.
Right.
But do you know the way people figured out that this happened? Because they complained that the water was tasting funny.
Oh, no way. They were drinking it?
Well, they didn't know that there was a dead body in there.
Oh, that's fucking terrible.
It's disgusting.
Oh, my God. Oh no. All right. Well, Hinterkaifeck Murders. That was creepy. Thank you very much, Ayesha.
But yeah, there's a bunch of other murders. Again, I'm the True Crime Junkie. This was a limited time series.
Yeah.
If you guys really like it, maybe we'll do it back. Maybe on my birthday.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe on your birthday.
Yeah, because they're only a week apart.
Exactly.
Look at that. All right. Well, folks, if you loved our series, this is the last one we're doing this week. Halloween week. It is Halloween day today, so happy Halloween, everybody. Really hope you're staying safe. Make sure you follow us on all of our Instagrams. We are on SoundCloud, and if you're watching this,
thanks for watching, man.
We on YouTube.
We on YouTube, baby. Mom, I'm a YouTuber now.
I'm an influencer now, Mom.
I'm an influencer.
Yep.
See these shoes?
Damn. Where'd you get those shoes?
I stole them from you.
Yep, exactly.
Anyway.
But please follow us on... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, please follow COVID guidelines.
Yes, please follow COVID guidelines. Absolutely, folks. I'm getting sick and tired of staying at home and constantly being threatened that if I go out,
Chicago closed down their indoor dining.
Yeah.
I had plans next weekend.
I didn't. Anyways,
Oh, and also, ladies, again, don't let anyone stop you from being a slut today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm dressing like a slut today. And you know what? I encourage you to, if that's what you want, dress like that every day.
Absolutely. But follow us on IG. Follow me at the Chicago Avi. That's the Chicago AVI on IG. Follow our What Are You Doing Here podcast page on IG as well. That's What Are You Doing Here pod. And follow Ayesha on Life of I. That's LIFEOFAYE. It's Life of Pi, but it's I, like a Life of I. All right?
You did it. Killed it, buddy.
We trying out here. And then please share, comment, subscribe, do the whole entire YouTube thing that we've gotten used to at this point, okay? And the SoundCloud thing. So if you're just listening to us on SoundCloud, please share this out on SoundCloud. It'd be fantastic. But any other last words, Ayesha?
Nothing. Just happy Halloween, you guys.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Ayesha.
Hey, Avi.
What are you doing here? Spooky episode.
I'm gonna be a bat for Halloween. Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.